Quite movie reviews. This is Black Panther, which is the latest in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It follows sort of an origin story, but not really in the sense that we know this character already from Civil War, when he came in and actually fought for Iron Man. So you do have an idea of who he is, but you don't really know where he comes from or the culture. He comes from Wakanda, which is a very advanced civilization that everyone else in the world thinks is a third world country. They think they're poor, and they've had all their sort of precious metal of vibranium taken away. But they really, actually, in reality, have a ton of it, and it's below in this giant rock area, kind of below the surface. I have some very interesting ideas how that's going to play out over Infinity Wars, but I won't go into that directly in this, because we are focusing on Black Panther, which is a standalone, and the last one before Infinity War, so that's quite interesting. With the actual film, you get a interesting character, and you get a very fast-paced sort of development that takes a very long time. So you do very much get an origin of how he becomes a king after the death of his father in Civil War. It's not a spoiler, it's just something that's already happened in the universe, and if you follow it, you should know that. So basically, you go through the trials of becoming the Black Panther and so forth, so you get an idea of how their society works and the various tribes, and it's a very colorful and culturally interesting sort of film in the sense that it creates this whole new distinct sort of style where everything's bright, and they've got lots of history, and it's a very rich type of world, but it's very much advanced too. Very, very cool tech, and yeah, it was just a very vast and interesting world that they created. I did, however, have some issues with the film's pacing, in the sense that they take forever building up who he is, and then there's a certain point where everything kind of halts, and then it's just right into the battle. I can't really go into it too much because, you know, obviously spoilers in that regard, but you get this weird sudden jump, and then it's over. Super fast. And they could have done something more as far as him building towards that moment, but it felt very rushed at the end, but yet slow at the beginning. I really liked it for the most part, but once I hit that point where it stopped, I was just kind of like, okay, how's it going to build from here? Because I felt like it should have been longer, but it was already like a fairly long 2.5 hours, so movie approximately, and it's like, definitely some pacing issues they should have had cleaned out a bit. I also felt towards the final sort of battle situations that the CGI kind of faltered quite a bit, where it looked very fake at times when they're doing combative scenes and so forth. That aside, it actually is a very, very good film. This is one of the definitely best Marvel films, I actually thought. I like the characters, I like the world it created. I thought everyone was very distinct. I liked the traditions they had set up. It felt like there was this whole lower culture that was just kind of waiting to be explored, and it was touched upon enough that you get a glimpse of this cool society that they have that is Wakanda, and hopefully we get to see more of that in future Black Panther films and other Marvel entries, because obviously it's going to be a big thing in Infinity War. The kind of battles they have were cool, the fight scenes were intense, and there was a right layering of music kind of to it. It was present but not always there. So during cool scenes, it was really upbeat and going, and you got really nice kind of choreographed battles, and the style of the film was nice, it looked good. It was a really cool character. I love his new special suit that he has in this one. Is really interesting. And not only that, like, Black Panther was cool, but I felt even more so that the characters around him were cool, and they were actually developed in the sense that they were important characters and not just side token ones. And even then, again, the villain problem that Marvel people can always claim to have, I think was done well here. It was very much a Black Panther against Black Panther, in the sense that you can actually see that from the trailer, so I'm not spoiling anything there. It's kind of the anti-hero against himself thing, but the story there was handled very well, and I think it's a very interesting sort of setup as to why this character comes into play and how it develops over the course of the film into a meaningful ending. But that aside, definitely I felt the pacing was weird in this one. That was a bit off, and again, the CGI a little bit towards the ending, which is weird because at the start of it was perfect, it all looked cool, very visually fancy, and then it kind of like, you know, just trails off a bit, and that was also the case with the pacing. It trails off towards the ending. Still very good. Black Panther was an excellent film. I give it a 8.2 out of 10. You can read my full review in the description below.